Now your security cameras are recording 24/7. Your family photos and videos are piling up. Your smart home is generating data every minute. All this precious content needs a home that's reliable, secure, and can grow with you. Now cloud subscriptions will drain your wallet month after month, and that external hard drive you've been lugging around? One drop or knock and everything could be gone. What if instead you had your own private cloud right in your own home, protecting what matters while giving you the power to run local applications like Docker, Home Assistant, Plex, Jellyfin, and even more. Meet the UGREEN NASync DXP4800 Plus, your personal backup assistant that does way more than just store files. Hi there neighbors, I'm Ryan the Tech Guy, and welcome back to This Smart House, your destination for the coolest new smart home gear and the best in smart automations. So when was the last time that you thought about what would happen if your Home Assistant machine crashed? Or if your phone with all those irreplaceable family photos got lost? Most of us don't think about backing up our precious data until it's too late. Your smart home configurations, family memories, important documents, and security footage. They're all vulnerable without a proper backup solution. So today we're diving into a powerful storage solution that's not just for backing up your files, but it can also power your smart home automation setup. Now this is a network attached storage device, or NAS for short. And it's an essential tool for all home users, especially those with a smart home, because it gives you a central location to store all of your data. And as a nice bonus, it's all stored locally on your hardware. Now, the UGREEN NASync DXP4800 can securely store and access up to 112 terabytes of data almost anywhere. That's roughly about 22,000 hours of HD video, or roughly 28 million photos. It provides quick and easy local storage for backups, media files, and even more. But as I mentioned before, this is more than just storage. It's essentially a small server that can run local applications, making it a powerful addition to your smart home even if you already have a server for Home Assistant. You can even use it as a network video recorder, or NVR, for your security cameras by using the application Shinobi. This gives you real-time security footage access and long-term storage. We'll take a look at that here in a bit. But first, a big thank you to UGREEN for sending over the NASync and for sponsoring today's video. I actually got to preview their booth this year for CES 2025, and they've got a lot of cool stuff coming, including a NAS that actually has onboard AI capabilities. And with World Backup Day coming up this month, keeping your data secure is more important than ever. I'll share some details about a special discount later on in the video. So if you're not an IT geek like me, you probably don't know what a NAS is. And why would you need one in your home? So you need to think of a network attached storage device as your own personal cloud that lives securely in your own home. No more renting space on somebody else's servers. You own the hardware, you control your data, and you'll never see another monthly storage bill in your inbox. From a security perspective, your data stays in your home, and you have full control over it. You get faster local access without any internet lag, which is perfect for security camera storage without the limitations of a cloud service. Now, as you can imagine, I have to deal with a ton of data, so as a creator, having a NAS is a must. So now that we know what it is, let's take a look at what makes the NASync DXP4800 Plus stand out. So at its core, it's powered by a 12th generation Intel Pentium Gold processor, with 5 cores and 6 threads. What this means in English is you can run multiple applications at the same time and still have plenty of horsepower to spare to make sure your backups get taken care of. Now it's also paired with 8 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, which you can actually expand up to 64 gigabytes if needed. It just uses standard laptop RAM. Now as for storage, you actually get 4 SATA drive bays on this one, each of them supporting up to 24 terabytes each, for a grand total of 96 terabytes of spinning disks. Now on the bottom, where the RAM slots are, there's also an additional 2 M2 NVMe SSD slots, supporting up to 8 terabytes each. You can use this for SSD caching or additional high-speed storage. This would be a great place to have all your applications installed for the NAS. Now, one of the things that really excited me about this NAS is the fact that it has both a 10 gigabit Ethernet port and a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port. This means it can obtain data transfer speeds up to 1,250 megabytes per second. That's plenty fast for smooth 4K video editing, media streaming, and transferring large files without even needing to wait. Which is perfect for me, because I'm lucky enough to have 2x2 gigabit fiber at my home and an internal 2.5 gigabit Ethernet network. This means it's very quick for me to transfer video files from my editing PC to the NAS. Or I can take advantage of my high-speed internet and transfer files in and out of my home at 2 gigs, which is insanely fast. Now, storage isn't the only important part about a NAS. You also have to take into account data protection. This system supports various RAID configurations, which, if you're not familiar with RAID stands for Redundant Array of Inexpensive Disks. Some of the different drive configurations available with the UGREEN are just basic, where you can have each disk used independently, JBOD, or just a bunch of disks. You've got access to RAID 0, 1, 5, 6, and 10. Now, the NASync runs on UGREEN's proprietary UGOS, which offers a straightforward interface for managing your files. It's just as easy as opening up the application, and you basically get a GUI interface that you can interact with just like any other desktop. And you can connect to it through dedicated apps available on Android, iOS, Windows, macOS, web browsers, and even smart TVs. Now, in addition to all of that, you also get additional connectivity. There's a front USB-C port and USB-A 3.0 port. Both of these run at 10 gigabits per second. Plus, on the back, you get a USB-A 3.0 port and 2 USB 2.0 ports. And there's also a 4K HDMI output for direct media playback, and an SD 3.0 card reader on the front for quick access to camera cards. Which is awesome. If you have it placed in your office, you can just pop the SD card in there and transfer it right to your storage array. Now, depending on where you want to put this NAS, I'm actually going to keep mine here in the office. It actually has 3 different cooling modes, which is really nice. Right now it's sitting in default mode, but it also has silent, where it doesn't run the fans unless it absolutely needs to, and then full speed, where it's going to run the fans much louder, but you get access to more performance. It comes with a magnetic dust mesh filter. This way you can quickly pop this off and clean it to keep the internals clean over time. So if you found any use in today's video, all I ask is that you give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing for more great smart home content. So now that we've seen what the NASync can actually do, let's head over to the computer and see how to get it all set up. Now, setting up the NAS is pretty straightforward. Obviously, the first thing we need to do is load the drives into the base. Now, the base model doesn't come with any drives, but you can pick up different packages from UGREEN that have different configurations of hard drives in them. The configuration I actually have are 4 4-terabyte hard drives. Now, one of the really nice things about this NAS is that it actually has a toolless installation, which means all you need to do is pop the drive caddy out. Then on the bottom, there's a little release that you pull to widen it out. Then you can place the drive in, line it up, and then close the drive caddy slide, and then put it into your NAS. Repeat this for all 4 of the different drives. Now, if you're afraid that one of your kids or somebody else might pop one of the drives out, they do have a little lock key that's included. All it is like a very small screwdriver. Now, if you're looking to install the SSDs, you will want to power off the NAS, flip it over, take out the screws on the bottom, then you can put your SSD in one of the 2 slots. Included in the box is a little bit of a thermal compound that you can place underneath of the SSD for cooling. So, once you get all your drives installed, go ahead and power up the NAS. Then you're going to want to go out and grab the UGREEN NAS program off of their website. I've got links to it down in the description, but it's also in the manual. Once you download the NAS application, it's going to take you through the setup process, which the initial setup might take a few minutes for it to initially start up. But once the NAS is operational, then you're going to want to go in and create your admin account. Now, please be aware that this needs to be a very secure password. You can create other accounts and limit its access, but your master admin account should have a very secure password. Now, please note this is the local username and password. We'll talk about setting up a web account later on, and that's completely optional. So you can actually operate this completely off the internet if you want to. So once you set up your username and password and connect into your NAS, it's going to walk you through the volume setup, which this is where you're going to select your drive configuration. As you can see, I've selected RAID 5. This is going to effectively remove the capacity of one of my drives. So instead of having 16 terabytes of storage, I get effectively 11. In the case that one of those drives fails, I can just pull it out, swap it for a brand new one of the same size, and then I'm good to go. So once you go through the storage manager and set up your volume, then you're ready to go. You can start installing applications and using the NAS. Now, another one of the great advantages of having your data stored on site is a certain level of security. The NASync takes us to the next level by including some additional software and ensure that your data stays private. We can install from the App Center the Security Manager. We open that up. It's going to allow us to activate real-time protection. This application lets you set up different security protections, including virus scanning and some intrusion protection on the NAS itself. You can go in here and review the different records for the virus scans, for any real-time protection. So this would be where if it detects somebody trying to hack into your system, it'll show up in here. And you can also see anything that's been quarantined, that's a suspicious file, and it's been removed and placed in a special holding area so it can't be accessed. And if you want to, you can go into the settings and set up notification management. So if you do get if a virus is detected or an intrusion is detected, you'll get a notification inside the app on your phone. Now, as I briefly mentioned before, you can also set up automatic backups from your phone. So say you want to back up your pictures automatically to the NAS, you can do that using the UGREEN app. So I've already installed and set up the UGREEN NAS app on my phone, but once you get into that, there's a sync and backup section here that you can click on, and you can say Photos Backup, and you can turn that on. You'll have to give it some extra permissions, and now it's going to show you where it's going to place those files, which is under my personal folder, and it's going to sort it by the date it was recorded. So you can, and then below that, you can set whether or not you want it to back up only on Wi-Fi. If you have a limited data plan, then maybe you want to set this to on. But in my case, I don't have a limit in my data plan and I want it to back up all the time. So I want to turn that off and then click confirm. Now, all of my photos will be backed up on the NAS. And you can do this for multiple devices. So no need to set up different accounts. So you don't need to buy more Google Drive storage space. You don't need to buy more iCloud space. You can have them all backed up to one central location and then have ready access to them for future things like creating photo books. So as I alluded to earlier on, one of the cool things that you can do with a NAS that supports something like Docker is run your own applications, including running your own NVR, which if not familiar, an NVR is basically where you can store all of the footage from your various cameras. Similar to products that you can purchase off the shelf, but this is nice because it's addition to what you've already got in your house. You don't have to go buy another component. So we're going to be setting this up, and the application is called Shinobi, and it's an open source NVR that we're going to actually run inside of a Docker container. So we're going to take a brief look at how to set up Shinobi. I'm going to give you just the basics because I do not have enough time to go into all the detail here. We're going to take a look at how to set it up, how to install a camera, both ONVINF and RTSP cameras, and how to set up recording. Now I've got a link down in the description to the full instructions, but I'll also have them on a blog post attached to this video. So you can follow along with that, and that's where you'll have all of the code that I'm copying and pasting in. So no need to follow along on screen. So the first thing we're gonna have to do is we'll need to go over to our App Center and make sure Docker is set up. So I've already got that installed. All it takes is a quick click and it will install and be ready to go. So I'm gonna open up Docker, accept the terms and conditions, and now we get a nice GUI that's running our Docker containers. So the first thing we need to do is go to the Projects tab and click Create Now. So for the name, we're gonna title it Shinobi. For storage path, and that first character has to be lowercase. So it's gonna put it in the Docker/Shinobi. So if I needed to share out and access any of the data, I could do it from there. We're gonna be using a Docker Compose configuration, which again, you can either get from the Shinobi website or from the tutorial I have linked down below. So if you're not familiar with what Docker Compose is, this is basically a quick way of setting up multiple different containers or pieces of a container inside of Docker. So effectively right here we have the location and name of the image, which is going to pull down, the name of the container, which you can obviously customize, whether or not you want it to automatically restart, devices that you want to expose, so we're actually giving access to the drives, the ports that we want it to use, and these ports have to be unique on the device. So for example, if I'm running multiple Docker containers, I can't have two Docker containers both running port 8080. So you can go in here and change this first side to something else and make it unique. Then below that, we're gonna create all the new volumes that we're gonna utilize inside of Shinobi. So again, these are things that are automatically set up. You don't need to worry about it. So we go down here to the bottom right-hand corner, click Deploy. So this is going to pull the image from the internet. So depending on your internet speed, this might take a little bit longer. Once it pulls the image from the internet, then it's going to deploy it. And then once it's finished, it'll just pop up here in the log and say done. And we're going to see here, it says Shinobi and it's running. So now to access this, we need to open up a web browser and go to the same IP address as your NAS, :8080. Which if you don't know your IP address of your NAS, you can easily find that by going to the control panel, going to network connection, and whichever LAN you have connected, it'll show you the IP address right there. So we're gonna go to http://192.168.1.26:8080. So again, change it to your IP address. And there we go, we've got Shinobi running. Now the email address and password are created automatically. The email address is admin@shinobi.video, and the password is admin. Obviously, you're going to want to change this once you get it set up. And if you do want to verify what the username and password is, you can go back into the Docker manager, go to Project, click on Shinobi, Then click on Logs, and this will show you the installation logs. And you can see right here, default supervisor and default password, what they're set to. So this is the web interface for a user, but if we want to log in as a super admin, we need to actually put /super behind it. And you'll see it's got a green tint on there. Now we're going to use the admin username and password it gave us. And now we're logged into the Shinobi admin console. So under accounts, this is where you would create any user access account you want by clicking the add button. So to proceed, we're going to actually need to create a normal user account because the super account doesn't have access to the cameras. It's just the backend setup. So we'll go into accounts, we're going to click add. We're going to type in an email address. Now we're going to go back to just the IP address, :8080, and then we'll log in with our new user account. So now I'm going to actually add a couple of different cameras. One is going to be an ONVIF camera from Reolink, which is actually my front doorbell that I've done a previous review on. We're going to set this one up since it's a Wi-Fi camera connected in through my network. And the second camera I'm going to set up is an RTSP camera, which is the new Aqara G5 Pro that I've got on my back deck. So the first one we're going to do is an ONVIF camera, the Reolink. So for our ONVIF cameras, we can quickly search for cameras by clicking the scanner down here. So if you leave this blank, it's going to scan your current subnet, which will find any cameras that are on your normal local network. Alternatively, if you don't know the IP address of your camera, you can typically open up your camera's application and find it within there. So since I know the IP address of my camera, I'm going to go ahead and type it in. I know ONVIF uses port 8000 and username and password. And there we go. It found my doorbell camera. So now if I click on save down here, it's going to go ahead and save the camera and start monitoring it. So now that we've added the doorbell camera, let's go ahead and add the Aqara camera, which is an RTSP style camera. So to manually add that camera, we need to go to the bottom right hand corner and click add new. And then we need to put in the stream URL for your camera. So in the case of my Aqara G5 Pro, when you set up RTSP in the app, it'll tell you right here what the stream URL is. But you might need to Google it for your specific camera to figure out what the stream URL is. And if you're not familiar with how a string is constructed, it's RTSP, then you got the username, :password, @ IP address, port, and then / usually the endpoint. In my case, the camera has multiple endpoints, so I'm going to grab the 1080p one. Then I can click probe, and it's going to check it, and it gives me all the information about the camera. So I can go ahead and click save. And click save at the bottom right hand corner. And now under monitors, I have a second camera. So I can click on here and it shows me my camera. But if we go to full screen, we'll actually see that it's in the right orientation. So as you can see, we're monitoring our camera from here. So now that we have access to the video in our streams, we want to go in and actually do some recording. So to do that, we go back to our monitors, we select our monitor, and then we go down to monitor settings. And then at the very top, we've got the monitor mode, which right now it's set to watch only, meaning you can go in and view the camera, but it doesn't record anything. So if we select record, now it's going to record that stream 24/7. So it's going to record that video footage is going to be stored on the NAS itself, and then you can go in and have access to it. That way you can go in and actually view that footage later on. So if we go back to monitors, we click on videos, then if we go down to recording, we can set what type of video file we want to record it as, MP4, WebM, what video codec and audio codec, and how many segments we want. So in this case, every 15 minutes, it's going to create a new file. And that way, after 15 minutes, I'll have some video files that I can go on here and watch if necessary. You can also go down here and create a JPEG time lapse, which is pretty neat, where it'll take a snapshot every few minutes, seconds, whatever you want to set it to, and then you can go back and stitch those together to make a time lapse. So that's pretty nice. Now, we're not going to get into setting up motion or zone-based recordings. That's for an entirely new video, but now at least you can set up your cameras to record 24/7 onto the NVR, replacing hopefully your cloud services or not requiring you to go out and buy another piece of hardware for your home. Now, this product is awesome because it comes with a very simple user interface. So not only can we set this up to run applications and even store all of our security videos on it, we can have it run Home Assistant locally and store and secure all of our files locally and give us remote access when we're away from our house. But what surprised me the most is how easy it was to actually get set up. I had this thing set up in probably under 15 minutes flat, and that included some of its processing time. So even if you're a little bit tech shy, something like this is a super easy way to get started in making sure that all of your personal data gets secured and backed up. You can install the backup clients on all of your different machines and have all your computer's important files automatically backed up to the NAS periodically. And like I showed you, you can actually back up your important pictures on your mobile phones. So this is really a great case and can replace probably a lot of different cloud services. I'll actually be able to go in and remove part of my Google Drive subscription because I don't need that full storage space anymore. So in the long run, this will probably save me quite a bit of money. Now we come to the all-important topic, the price. These come in different configurations. I've got the 4-bay configuration, but they have different ones all the way up to 8 bays, meaning you can have up to 8 different drives installed in it. Now for the standard retail price, the 2-bay unit comes in at $349.99. The 4-bay DXP4800 Plus that I've got actually comes in at a retail of $700. That of course doesn't include any discs. And if you want to step up all the way to the DXP4800 Plus that has 8 discs, that'll set you back $14.99. That might seem like a lot, but you've got to remember how much data you can actually store on that device and what the equivalent would be for a cloud storage provider. There's really not any way that I'd be able to store all of my video data on a cloud service without shelling out thousands of dollars a month. So something like this is definitely a win for me. Plus having access to the expandable RAM so I can add more applications in the future, plus having 10 gigabit Ethernet makes it future-proof. In celebration of World Backup Day, UGREEN is giving viewers of this smart house a discount of 20% on the DXP4800. If you want to take advantage of that, please use the links down below. That'll get you the discount and let UGREEN know that you got great information from this channel. So if you're already a smart home user and you've got a NAS set up, I'd love to hear how you're using it and any unique use cases that you've come up with. Would you use it primarily for cameras, running something like Home Assistant, or just replacing your Google Drive or iCloud? Please let me know down in the comments below. So again, I want to thank UGREEN for sending over this NAS for me to take a look at. I'm definitely going to be using this in my video recording workflow. And please make sure if you did find this video useful, you give it a thumbs up. Now, if you're interested in checking out any security cameras, I've got an entire dedicated playlist right over here. So thanks for making it this far, and I'll catch you on the next video.